50 Cent has set his sights on someone new after the Diddy Netflix documentary. If you aren't aware, 50 Cent has been getting insane feedback from the Netflix documentary he made on Diddy. Sean Combs' The Reckoning is what it's called, and it's #1 all over Netflix, beating even Stranger Things. Diddy himself has responded to it, saying the stories are false, of course denying everything and even trying to do a cease and desist on the Netflix documentary. And after this Diddy documentary, a lot of people have been wondering, who's the next person that deserves to get exposed? And Jay-Z is the one that a lot of people are pointing their finger at. And the reason why Jay-Z's been getting a lot of this type of backlash is because Jay-Z was really close to Diddy. At one point, Diddy was even calling him his brother, and that Jay-Z's the only one that can call him his real name, Sean, besides his mother, who is Sean approved from the world of entertainment. There's only one person. I'll go on. And I call him Sean. That's Jay-Z. We call each other Sean. Okay. Yeah. Nobody else could call me Sean. He's the only person. There's not a single person that should be, no, outside of my mother. Okay. That should be following me. Yeah, that should be following me. Sean. So the relationship has always been close. They had those parties every single year. I think the Rock Nation brunch is what they're called. And Diddy was obviously the right-hand guy next to him at those parties. So a lot of people have this speculation that if Diddy did all that stuff and Jay-Z was that close to Diddy, that maybe there's something on Jay-Z's side that has been going on behind the scenes. Now, there hasn't been any solid proof yet, but Nicki Minaj has been going at Jay-Z for quite some time, talking about Jay-Z's manipulative and he steals, and he's been pushing a narrative, and that Rock Nation has control and power over a lot of things. And I can kind of understand where she's coming from to a certain extent. We got to remember when Jay-Z went up on the Grammy stage and said Beyonce never won Album of the Year and complained about that. Literally the following year, Beyonce wins Album of the Year, which is just something like, if that doesn't show you that there is some power going on there, that there is something behind the scenes that Jay-Z controls, it's clear as day that it's all politics on who wins Grammys, who gets the better light and things. So that kind of opened my eyes, as to Rock Nation's power and how they manipulate things in the media. I'll never forget Jay-Z would get this special treatment all the time when it comes to the media. I mean, Hot 97, when they interviewed Jay-Z, they literally rolled out a red carpet. They never did that for any other artist. So Jay-Z's always had this kind of special treatment when it came to things. But now the question is Jay-Z involved in crazier things? I mean, there's been a lot of speculation in a lot of different ways. And people are pointing their attention towards 50 Cent, wanting him to do a Jay-Z documentary. And it looks like he might actually do it, because on Instagram, he posted a drawing of Jay-Z that kind of makes fun of his looks. And he posted that photo and he said this in the caption: "Please stop sending me stuff like this. I'm not going to post it." Basically making a joke, because obviously he posted it on his social media. But, and here's the interesting but in this, is someone commented on the post and the comment got liked by 50 Cent. And this is the comment. It's from Dom KMDA. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Dom Kamada. He commented saying, "My only question, he's next, isn't he?" And 50 ended up liking that comment. And here's the thing. I actually saw this on Twitter and X, whatever, Twitter X, whatever you want to call it. And I wanted to confirm, is this a real photo? Did 50 like your comment? He said, "Hey, yes, he did." And I was like, perfect. Thank you for confirming. Thought it was Photoshop. Well, appreciate the response. And he said, "I was surprised as well. Didn't see that coming." So shout out to him for, responding to my DM and confirming that, the comment actually got liked by 50, because, a lot of people Photoshop and spread narratives. So me being the proper journalist, or whatever you want to call me, news reporter, I, wanted to go get to the source and see if it was actually real. There's also something that's very interesting that went over a lot of people's heads, and that's the documentary coming out on December 2nd. That Diddy documentary coming out on that date. Literally 2 days later, you have Jay-Z's birthday, December 4th, which to me sends a subliminal message to Jay-Z that you're next. So that's crazy. That just to me, shows that 50 is potentially going to work on something going at Jay-Z. And he might get Nicki Minaj involved, because Nicki Minaj has a huge issue with Jay-Z with a lot of things. And I don't even know the full details of that, because she's gone at Jay-Z for quite some time now. And the interesting thing is 50 Cent and Jay-Z's relationship have been good and then bad, good and then bad. The same thing with Diddy, right? Where
They've been cool for a little bit, and then they have beef and issues. And with Jay-Z, it all started with How to Rob, where 50 went at Jay-Z on that track, and then Jay-Z responded with I'm all about $1, what the F is 50 cents? And then 50 responded with Be a Gentleman, and then Jay-Z never responded to that. And then they eventually did business with the Reebok shoe deal as Doc Carter's and G-Unit sneakers. And then, they would have back and forth. I mean, I covered this whole thing in my 50 Cent versus Jay-Z What Happened documentary, where I go over their whole beef. So check that out if you haven't seen it. And the most recent thing that caused a lot of tension was the Super Bowl. When Dr. Dre had the Super Bowl show, Eminem wanted 50 Cent to be a part of the show, and Jay-Z said he didn't want that to happen. He didn't want 50 there. And it was actually Nori from Drink Champs that confirmed that it was Eminem that pushed for 50 Cent to be there, and that Eminem wouldn't be a part of the show unless 50 was involved. And then Jay-Z was like, fine, the white boy, asked for 50. We're going to make it happen, I guess. So basically, Jay-Z didn't want him at the show, which is crazy. So they've always had a back and forth. There's always had, kind of like a frenemies approach. But more recently, 50 is going in on Jay-Z a lot more. Even he jokingly said that Jay-Z responded to his Diddy documentary and thanked him for not being in the documentary, which, 50's trolling. I highly doubt Jay-Z actually did that. The question here is, will there be a lot of people that come forward to be a part of the Jay-Z documentary with actual facts and information? I think 50 is not going to work on it unless there's like massive lawsuits that start to come and, the topic is brought more to light where a lot more people are paying attention to it. Because right now, there is just a lot of speculation. Besides Nicki Minaj, I mean, there are people here and there that say things about Jay-Z, but a lot of them don't have solid proof. Right? It's just a lot of conspiracy theories. At least that's what I've seen. I haven't deep dived into it to really speak on it and say, oh, this is solid proof. Jay-Z has done X, Y, and Z, whatever the case may be. But it'll be interesting just to, see if something comes to light down the line. I mean, 50 has always had competition with Diddy and Jay-Z in terms of who's the New York King and, who's dominating hip hop and all that. So 50's already gotten, Diddy out of the way. And why wouldn't he set his sights on Jay-Z? That's kind of, he's learned the laws of the 48 laws of power, destroy your enemy completely. And that's what he's always stood on, even with Ja Rule and whoever he's gone against, at least that he hasn't squashed the beef with. He squashed the beef with Nas and Fat Joe and so on and so forth. But with Jay-Z, he's always had his foot on his neck for, lots of different reasons. One of the more interesting things is the whole Megan Thee Stallion and Tory Lanez thing that Roc Nation had a part in, making sure that Tory Lanez got locked up and so on and so forth. That's been a huge conspiracy theory that Roc Nation, has this huge control over people. And I can kind of understand where it comes from to a certain extent. We got to remember when Jay-Z went up on the Grammy stage and said, why don't you guys ever give Beyonce Album of the Year? And then the following year she gets it. It's like, dude, come on, guys. Let's question some of what's going on. If somebody complains about something, the next year they adjust it and actually give it to that person for that complaint. You got to think about this and be like, what's going on here? I don't think they ever messed up Beyonce's career for her not getting Album of the Year. Jay-Z and Beyonce have gotten an insane amount of awards, way above everybody else. So they've already, basically got on their knees and given praise to them more than enough. So for Jay-Z complaining about Album of the Year, it's like, come on, man. What else? You want everything. You want the cake and eat it too? How many awards do you want? It's kind of insane. But that just kind of opened my eyes even more, that I was like, oh, okay, yeah, there is something going on where Roc Nation runs a lot of the behind the scenes stuff on who actually gets awards and who doesn't. At the end of the day, a lot of the stuff is conspiracy theory, speculation. Some areas, though, there is smoke, and where there's smoke, there's fire. But a lot of it, there really isn't, anything to tie the pieces together. It's just a lot of people talking online. And, you need solid proof with a lot of this stuff. I don't just go on and accuse people of certain things without having solid proof. I never would, because I would never want something to do that to me. It just doesn't make any sense. But unfortunately, a lot of people in these outlets, they'll do clickbait stuff to try to, get people to spin certain narratives. But that's my take on it. So let me know what you guys think. Do you guys think 50 will develop a Jay-Z documentary down the line that actually puts a lot of his, whatever he's gotten in the past to light? And do you guys think it will actually impact Jay-Z's career? Who knows what will happen down the line? But we'll see. And, 50's got his trolling way. So you never know with him. You never know if it's serious or not, or if he's just joking. But we'll see what happens down the line. I think there will be something coming. because there's a lot of stuff brewing online when it comes to Jay-Z, and it's only a matter of time before, somebody comes out and says, hey, this guy did this guy did that to me. I don't know. I'm not saying he did or did not, but we'll see what happens down